like to introduce our new principal that we have this year. You may not know her. Her name's Miss Tiffany Grantham. Gatham. I knew I'd mess it up, and I asked her right before starting. We are just thrilled to have her here, and you will get to know her as the year goes on. And need her for anything, you know where she's located. If anybody here works for the Union Bank, I'd like to say from first grade that we thank you for feeding us hamburgers on Monday. And if you go to the Emmanuel Baptist Church, we'd like to thank you for the chicken dinner on Tuesday. We're going to start out, come on in, take a seat, by telling you about something that we have new at Eastside this year, and you need to sign for it, and that is Facebook. Miss Terry Calloway is going to be putting pictures of your children on Facebook unless you do not want them on Facebook. We have a sign-up sheet in the hallway by your teacher's door. You will sign if you want them on Facebook. If you do not, beside their name, just put no. And no pictures will be posted. We have an apology to make. The school is not providing us with Kleenex this year. And I know that you're overburdened with supplies, but sometime if you could possibly, throughout the year, doesn't necessarily have to be in the next week or two, maybe pick up a box of Kleenex. We just found out, otherwise we would have put it on the supply list for you. They've been furnishing it for us for the last 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden, for some reason, they're not this year. As you notice, we've got a lot going on in our buildings. We have bathrooms under construction, and when they get done, they will be beautiful. But meanwhile, we do not have water fountains. Each teacher in first grade has purchased water for your child, either a bottle or 2 bottles of water for today. If you can, we would really appreciate if you could send water. It doesn't have to be bought. If you've got a container at home with a lid that you would like to put water in, that's perfectly fine. You may even want to freeze it to where it's a little, got some ice in it to where it'll be cold. We also have porta potties set up outside the building for restrooms for the next 3 to 4 weeks. They're working on it just as fast as they can, and again, it will be literally beautiful when they're done. You can kind of peek through the doors and get a little picture of what it will look like once they get them finished. The porta potties are not your just ordinary, everyday blue porta potties that you see on most work constructions. They are trailer. There's 4 stalls to a trailer. It's double sinks, air conditioned, plays country music. So we're in style.
Is it a boys' side and a girls' side?
There is a boys' side and a girls' side. So it'll get through. We can do it. I'm
They
kind
will
of
not
excited.
go there by themselves. We will go out as a class or whatever. We won't let them go out there by themselves.
Yes, ma'am. All right. To get on, when you stop by your child's classroom, we're going to send the brown packets home. Some of you came earlier this morning and you picked up your brown packets. But unless you just really want it so that you can jump in on signing all those pages, we're just going to put it in your child's backpack this afternoon and send it home with you. If you brought the $13 for the extra school supplies, if you'll hand it to your teacher, she's going to have an envelope or a baggie. She'll put your child's name on it, put it in there. We won't have change. So at the end of the day, we will send that envelope or baggie home with you with your change in it. And we will walk the students out and let them purchase their items in a little while when we get an opportunity. Because there's a lot of construction out there. We've kind of got to weave around the construction and everything. Also, there's a sign-in sheet beside your teacher's door that just simply said you came today. And there is the most important all clipboard with how your child is going to get home. We need a physical address, not a PO address. Even if your child is a car rider, we still need an address, because if you get sick and cannot get your child or have somebody pick them up, then we've got an address to figure out what bus to put them on. But if you leave it blank, we're not going to know. If you put a PO box, that's not going to help us at all. So we need a physical street. If you do know what bus your child rides, please there's a place there for you to fill it in. If you don't, put a question mark and they will look it up in the office if you leave an address. We also need a working telephone number. We tried calling you for over the last week. I got a hold of 7 parents out of 19 Most of the reason was they did not have a telephone listed, or the telephone is no longer working. So if you can be sure we have a working telephone number, that would help us out a lot. Now, some of you have an orange folder. It'd be in your packet. In that packet, there's several pages toward the back that must be signed and filled out. Also, within the big brown envelope, you'll see some on the table, there's forms to be filled out. We don't mean to be bad guys, and I know you get sick of it, but some of you will say, I don't want the insurance, and you don't send the form back. Or, I don't want free lunch, and you don't send the form back. Well, then we get a letter from the office that says, we've not received that yet, send another one. So we send it home. We still don't get it back. We send another, and another, and another. And you're thinking, what part of no did they not understand? I didn't send it back, I don't want it. Please put no on it and send it back anyway. Because we have this big, long sheet that's got pink sheet, purple sheet, yellow sheet, green sheet. And we check each one that you send back. And even if it's a no, we check it off. If we don't have a check off, then that means we got to send you another one. And you're going to think we're hounding you and just being ugly, but we're not. Inside there, there's also going to be a new sheet that kind of looks like this right here. It's going to be MAP testing data, and it's going to give you the scores of how your grade level, first grade and kindergarten, did on their MAP scores. You're going to see a sad face down here on first grade on measurement or data. It's really on data. We were 0.7 of a point meeting that. It wasn't a big gap, but here's some of the things that happened. Data for us on our pathway is at the very end. It's the last one. And some of our students didn't get to that part of the data. So when they went to take the MAP test, they hadn't had that skill yet. So one way we've decided to help them out is we're going to start with graphs and data. We're going to graph all kinds of stuff this year. We're going to start at the beginning. And that's going to be, hopefully, take care of that 0.7% there. Also, I'm trying to look to see what pathways. Those of you who have been here, you know the pathway. Any of you that's new, you do not. Your pathway is what your child is to learn. The State Department gives us things that we have to teach, and we literally check off as we teach them. What we've done is we've taken what the state says your child must know to be able to function in second grade and put it on a pathway that looks like a snake. And it starts off in a progression level. We started off with counting. So the first thing that everybody in here has got is counting to 120, reading numbers to 120, writing to 120, counting objects to 120. That's the very first thing on that pathway. Once we will pre-test, if your child already knows it, then we move on to the next thing on that pathway. If they don't, that lets us know where we were. Some of the things this year, parents got really upset because their child didn't master it. And they couldn't understand how come that box never got marked off. The reason it didn't get marked off, more than likely, I'm not saying for sure, is that some of our goals that the State Department says we have to teach are called ongoing. Ongoing means we start them at the very beginning of the year, teaching them to put that capital letter on the first of that sentence, that period at the end of that sentence. But we don't actually test that because it's such a long process for them to learn it till the end of school. It may be way over in April, May. So therefore that box will be skipped and we'll go on. What we did this year to help you know which one were the ongoing skills is we bolded them. They'll have a dark ring around them. And when you see that dark ring and you don't go, Johnny, how come you're not finishing that off? I see you skipped it. Just know that that one will be assessed later on in the year. They're working on it. Also something that you need to know, sometimes marking these boxes off take a little time. But in each one of these boxes, it's not just one thing. Now I see it, the first one we start with is numbers to 20. There's 3 things, really 4 things that they have to do in that. literally they have to count to 120. And it's from a given number. I may start with 33 and they take off counting. They have to write them. They have to read them. And they have to be able to count objects. That's 4 things that they have to do. 4 separate tests before they can color in that one box. And some of you get really discouraged, and we don't want you to get discouraged because it's working at their pace, how long it takes them to get it done. They're working hard. Some of them's got 6, 7, 8 things under before that they have to finish before they can color in that one box. But do remember that the bold ones are the ones that that are ongoing. All right, that is literally the only thing that I have to say. I've gone over everything on here. We will be sending home a sheet with all of your passwords on it. We have a sheet that has IXL, which is their math, and we have Compass, which is math and reading. We have some others that'll be on the sheet. And you can work on these at home. So the passwords will be sent home. If you have a computer, they can log on and work on them at home. All right, Miss Jo, is there anything you'd like to add?
In the back of the orange booklet, there are several things that you will tear out and sign and send or cut. There's the Eastside Compact. There is the internet policy. This is Brunson's. You don't have to worry about that one.
Internet they do.
But this is Brunson's
Oh,
packet.
okay.
Compact. But this is the signature page for Eastside. This is the internet agreement for Eastside. Corporal punishment. And this is the signature page for field trip, textbook, videotaping, and other things. So be sure that you go to the back of the packet. It begins on page 94. And just check through that. There's places where your child needs to sign. There are places where you need to sign. If you'll just read them carefully, you'll see exactly where to sign, and you get that all turned in, and we won't be bugging you for it.
And on the internet, a lot of my parents think that the child is just going on the internet and surfing like high school. But internet for us is their IXL and Compass. It's their schoolwork. And we have to have that form back so that they can get on there and take their math test, because math test is on the internet, IXL, Compass, their typing program, all of that is on the internet. And they cannot have access to it until you send it back. So our internet policy is just a little bit different than the other schools.
They do not have access to the internet unless we're doing it with them as well.
Are there any questions that you need answered? I noticed a parent this morning made the loop. I think all of us, but just in case you're new, you go through, drop your child off up front. If it's first grade, if you're going to second, you go that way. Please do not drop your child off back here. This one dropped him off back here, come through the door, and then she made the loop, which is actually the bus. So if a bus comes in here, and sometimes they're pretty fast, they don't always stop because they don't have anyone to drop off here. They go on to the next building. So that's that. And if your child, you change the way your child is going home. Every year we have kids crying, my mama said I'm going to be a car rider today, but you didn't give him a note. What you actually told him is you may be a car rider today. And they go hysterical. We will not send them to that car line unless we have a physical note in hand if you say they're a bus. We won't send them to the bus unless we have that physical note or a phone call. If you can call it in, and we'll get them where they need to be. But just telling them won't work, okay? It's for their safety. We want to make sure we get them in the right spots.
And please, we send the planners home every day. Please sign those planners and make sure the child has. We use them every day. They need to be back in their backpack. Their math journals will stay in their backpacks, but we need them back every day.
And on the signature, if you have a note that you want to put in that planner, telling us that's a good place for that car note to go. I just send the whole planner to the office and they make a copy of it. If your child woke up not feeling well, stomach ache, any kind of communication that you need us to know, a new phone number, please put it in there. And that's just one form of communication we have. All right, if there's nothing else, if you will go, the teacher will be at the door. The sign-up sheets will be there. If you've already taken care of that, you're free to go. And thank you for coming. We appreciate it.